Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. All right, the title of this lesson, something along the lines, of that hunger, is not a joke. And as each day goes by, there's more and more articles talking about food prices hitting new highs, and inflation getting worse, and evils growing upon the face of the planet Earth. And yet, people are still going about their day-to-day life as if there's nothing going on, which shows you where their mind is. And that's why the scriptures mention the day of the Lord coming as a thief in the night. Because you have people that actually don't have a clue, meaning they're so blinded that when they go to the store and they see the shelves are empty, it never dawns on them that something is going on. It never dawns on them to look up, what's actually happening. And for the most part, a lot of them just stay home and order through Instacart or some delivery means, and they get their groceries. And when they go to certain parts and they press order and then it says that the items are no more, it's, okay, fine, they'll just get something else. But it's not dawning on them that something, worse is coming of this. The prices go up, and it's not jumping, skyrocketing. It's not like hyperinflationary prices yet. So people are still in that state of just going about everything regular. And that's why the scriptures say that sudden destruction is coming. Now, I looked up, I typed in the horrors of famine in Google, and I got some information from thebiblehub.com. So I'm going to read that. But first, I want to read the headline of this article, which is from RT News, and it came out today. And it says, global food prices, keep in mind, global food prices hit 10-year high amid supply disruptions, factory closures, and political tensions. And people have been conditioned whenever they see these things not to panic, not to worry. It's all under control. We're fixing it. But very soon, when these things start hitting, there is going to be no solution. And you know when they're really going to panic? When they look for that calming solution and all they hear is, there is no calming solution for this. Now it says food prices have surged to a new global peak, hitting their highest level since July 2011, and extending the 30% increase recorded last year, according to the latest United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, which I believe it was the UN that published an article, or there was an article published that said that the UN was warning against famine for this year. Now it says the FAO Food Price Index, which tracks the international prices of a basket of food commodities, found that in October, the cost of a basket of food was up 3% on the previous month. The prices were reportedly pushed by high commodity prices, worldwide disruptions to supplies, and factory closures, along with political tensions. Because we are living in evil days. Evils are growing on the face of the planet Earth. And as people are still in the mindset of folly, in the mindset of peace and safety, they won't realize this till it's right in their face. They won't realize this till the hunger kicks in, and then they go to the fridge and there's nothing there. Then they go to try to shop online and there's nothing there. And then they try to go in person and there's nothing there. There's like these long ass lines, and then somebody's at the front of the line saying there's no products in here. And then the one or two or few products you do find are the prices are through the roof. So it says the FAO cereal price index grew 3.2%, while the price of wheat surged 5% due to reduced harvest from major exporters such as Canada, Russia, and the US. The organization also found the international prices of other major cereals had grown. And you may see 3.2%, you may see 5%, and it may sound like just a little bit, but when you're dealing with a large number or a large scale, 2%, 1%, that's not a little bit, right? And as these percentages keep going up, people are going to start to feel the hurt. It says the price of vegetable oil hit an all-time high of 9.6 in October, marking a fourth, you hear that? Fourth consecutive, look that word up. Fourth consecutive month of price hikes. So it's a pattern. Prices for vegetable oil were largely underpinned by persisting concerns over subdued output in Malaysia due to ongoing migrant labor shortages. Because you have mandates that are leading to shortages, you have supply chains being disrupted, which the supply chain disruption, first off, this has been something that has been being warned of for years, that the actions that were being taken back then were going to have effects in the future, and it was going to affect the supply chain. So this problem that you're seeing now is not just something that just happened overnight. This is the effects of all the different causes that were taking place all those years ago, and that we're being warned about. All right. Now it says, meanwhile, dairy prices saw an increase of 2.5%, while the price of Salakia, let's see. Give me 1 second. All right. While the price of meat dropped 0.7%, marking the third month decline. Okay. So it says after 6 consecutive months of increases, sugar prices also declined 1.8% due to limited global demand and large surpluses for export. So now let's go to this information that I pulled up here, which is from the BibleHub.com, and is titled "The Horrors of Famine." It says it's by J.R. Thompson, which is not, anything too crazy, but it's just a bit of information here that I wanted to go into. Now it says, a more graphic, a more terrible picture than this of the misery of a captive. Now this is pretty much, I guess you could say, a commentary based on Lamentations 4 and 3 to 5. All right, but regardless of time, the effects of famine universally or by default or generically sort of stay the same. The lack of food causes certain actions and behaviors in certain people. Now it says a more graphic, a more terrible picture than this of the misery of a captured, starved, and desolated city no pencil could paint. If the circumstances of the famine-stricken population of Jerusalem are portrayed with too literal a skill and too sickening and with too sickening an effect, it must be borne in mind that the description is not that of an artist, but of a prophet, and that the aim is not merely to horrify, but to instruct, and especially to represent the frightful consequences involved in a nation's sin and apostasy. Now, you can go in history and read about some of the worst famines, some of the most severe famines, and what effects they had on the world and the areas in which they hit. And after doing that, try to imagine something far worse than that. Something that makes that look like a walk in the park. And that's what it means by Jeremiah 30:7 and Daniel 12:1, going into a time like never before. So that nothing that has happened in the past is going to compare to it. So when you have shortages and famines and, dire situations, these are going to be the worst kinds of dire situations. So bad that nobody has ever seen such a thing before. That even survivors of the most rigorous, severe famines, if they were put in this situation, would lose their minds. And now you have a bunch of people who have never even been put in situations like this about to go through the worst kind that there is. And yet, How are they preparing? By chilling, making mirth, partying, living a good life. That's how they're preparing. All right. Now it says, or the first part, physical sufferings are described. If the condition of the wretched citizens be examined, they are seen to be affected or afflicted with all physical evils, e.g., with hunger and want, and emaciation, which is being thin, right? Where you can see your ribs and all of that, and feebleness of the body, with homelessness, squalor, which is filth, dirt, and filth with pestilence and death. Because what people don't consider is that when they haven't eaten in so long, sometimes you don't, well, often it's not really just the hunger or starvation that kills you, but the diseases that are able to get you before that starvation, because your immune system becomes so weak that it can't defend against even minor, simple as diseases, and they end up killing you. All right, because you haven't had any food or water. See, so people right now think, it's all fun and games, right? You still partying, you drinking that Starbucks, you snapping and posting and having a good old time. But they don't realize that when their ribs, right, when they start feeling their skin touching their ribs, and they start seeing their cheekbones protruding out of their facial structure, right? And then their head starts swelling. They get lightheaded. They can barely stand up. They can't speak. They can't think right. All they can think about is food and hunger, and their stomach hurts. What do you think they're going to be thinking about? They're going to want to eat, because that's going to be the only way out. See, famine is one of the severest things, man, because there's pretty much only one way out, which is food. And if you don't have access to that, people are going to start going crazy. As is this document here is going to go later on to say. And it mentions pestilence and death. Now it says moral degradation is denounced. A siege, the sack of a city, have sometimes called out exalted self-sacrifice and heroism, but they have sometimes been the occasion of the bursting forth into flames of the vilest passions. And the scriptures tell you in the book of 2nd Esdras, I believe the 5th chapter, that incontinency, right, shall be multiplied, meaning no sense of self-restriction, right? So as he's saying here, when things get this bad, sometimes the occasion of bursting forth into flames of the vilest passions, where people are just not gonna have a chill. They're not gonna have a limit. Okay, it says of avarice, cruelty, selfishness, which that goes into like greed, cruelty, selfishness, and lust. Okay, and lust, you got dudes lust after women. They go and they take them. You have people that become selfish, stingy. You're like, yo, we family. No. We were family when we had food. There's no food now. Okay? So it's every man for themselves. And that's what people need to understand. And the Lord said what? Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So there's going to be no hospitality. And you're wondering, well, how can all that come from just food? Well, you wait. Because not everybody has the same level of self-control. You may be able to go a day, 2 days, 3 days. Somebody may not be able to go 5, 6 hours. And they start losing it. So when somebody like that is pushed to the brink where they have to go 2 days without eating, they're going to turn into a crazed animal. Literally, they're going to try to eat anything. Because their body's going to go into shock. It's going to go into a mode that is never experienced before. Why? Because they constantly get access to food and junk food at that. Okay, so their body their brain is going to be trying to justify any means for them to put something in their mouth to eat. even if it has to be another human being. And then you have the brutal, horrific side of life start to people start to experience that. They start to really get a taste for what real life is like, how anything can happen at any moment, how people can get very crazy very quickly and have such little regard for life when theirs is on the line. So that's why it says what? Cruelty, selfishness, and lust. In this passage, we observe an atrocious exhibition of selfish indifference to the pains and necessities of others, because people are going to put themselves first. They're not going to care about the next person. No, there's going to be, I eat first, and then if there's something left, if that. Because then they might say, well, I'll take this, and then I'll take the rest for later. And you may be wondering, well, can I get something? Then no, it's not enough. You go look for your own. People are gonna be taking other people's stuff, and all this we see happening because the Lord has given us the sight, the vision, so we can see how the things happening now will lead to these times, as they've been prophesied in the scriptures. But these people only go based off of the here and now. But even that, the here and now should raise some antennas. That we just keep hearing about prices going up. Things are not looking too good. And as the economy starts to get worse, jobs are going to start disappearing. People are going to start getting cut, and they're going to have to start changing their lifestyles. Having to start incorporating different things, sacrificing things because they can't afford it. It says, and especially a display of cruelty toward children, which contrasts with the parental instincts and tenderness of the brutes. So when, people are going to be like surprised at the way others behave towards children, how a parent might be willing to eat their child, which is contrary to parental instincts, which says protect your child at all costs, right? But that hunger is going to drive them into an inhumane state, a state worse than any that history has ever seen. And this is why we're going to need a divine power to deliver us from this, because no man is going to be able to deliver themselves. And that's why we are petitioning and making our bodies a living sacrifice and beseeching the Lord to have mercy upon us. It says, to so low a level does sin bring human nature, practical lessons. All right, so now let's go real quick to the book of, and I'm just going to hit a few of these quickly. All right, starting with the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Now, why is it going to come suddenly? Is because they're not aware. They're not keeping up. They're in a distracted state of mind. They're in a docile state of mind. So they're not paying attention to the things that are coming. And as these things continue to hit this place, it's going to come upon them suddenly. As it says in 2 Ezra, the 6th chapter, in the 22nd verse, that what? Suddenly shall the, matter of fact, let me just get it real quick. 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. See, that's when it's gonna dawn upon them. Oh, I went to the supermarket yesterday, but there was nothing there. And then they thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna go back early tomorrow morning. I'm sure they're gonna restock. And you come back tomorrow morning and ain't nothing there for you. And then you start to see on the news, oh, the things are getting worse, and it looks like supermarkets might not be restocking, until for the foreseeable future. That's when people start going crazy. Oh my gosh. Then you go to the BJ's here, you go to the Walmart here. The next thing you know, you find yourself interstate in different shopping malls trying to find just a little bit of whatever they have there. Desperation, suddenly, all right? And these people don't see it at all, and they don't see it at all. In their minds, everything is all sweet. It's just going to continue as it is. And if it gets bad, that's okay, because it's going to get better. It's just going to pass. It's a phase, But when it doesn't pass and they're not prepared, that's when they're going to start losing it. Now, this is the book of Isaiah chapter 60, verse 2. And it says, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee." And so these people are in such darkness that they don't even see that they are that boiling frog. They don't see it. They don't see that they're in the pot and the fire's being turned up. They look at the stove thing, and it went from 2 to 4, but they don't feel it. Then they look at it again, it's at 6, but they don't feel it. So when they're at their dying breath, that's when they're going, oh shit, what the hell? And it's going to be too late for them. So now let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 22. And it says, "For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish," meaning to die, "of famine, lack of food. And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy." You hear that? So it's going to be brutal. Survival rate is going to be very, very low. All right. People talk about survival rate for this Crown Royale. Guess what? The survival rate for real life is going to be real low. Jacob's Trouble's mortality rate is going to be real high. It's going to be 100%, with the exception of the Lord's those the Lord has mercy on. All right. Angels are not going to do a half job. If you're set to die by famine, you're going to die by famine. You're going to die by starvation or whatever else the Lord has set for you to go down by. And these are the things that are shortly going to come to pass. So if you are out there, living your best life, thinking everything is sweet, thinking it's going to pass, it's not. So you better start getting ready. Repent and seek Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, because that is the only way. And people are going to find that out the hard way. And for some, the Lord is going to have mercy on them, and they're going to find that out the right way. Okay? When they call upon the Lord and they get delivered. But others are going to find out the hard way. When their gods don't answer them, their bellies are screaming at them, and there's no solution, there's nowhere else to go. And it's going to look like a scene out of a horror movie very, very soon. So with that, I hope you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.